Hey there! In this video, I'm going to show you how you can hang your CGC slabs the same way I did right here behind me. Stay tuned. Alright, so as you can see here, this was the old way I used to hang comics on my wall with some thumbtacks up there. And this is the new way where I have all of my prized possessions on display here. And I've got a spot right here that I want to add a new slab, so I'll walk you through how I do this. Alright, so in order to get started, we're going to need to look at our supplies. And this is a box of those mount up, they're actually AlbumMount, these sort of plastic mount holders. And then I got a stack of command strips. We're not going to use all of these, but essentially if you order these from Amazon or anywhere else, you can get them in that frustration-free packing. And it recommends using 2 pairs for something large up to about 8 pounds, or you can use 4 pairs for up to 16 pounds. I haven't officially weighed a slab before, but I usually roughly estimate it. It's not more than a couple of pounds at best. So I usually use 2 pair, just 1 pair at the top and 1 pair at the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is open this new pack of mount up plastic mounts and kind of show you what's inside. And there's 10 of these essentially, and you're going to use 2 to create the slab holder. And there's a little package of screws here. They used to be black, it looks like they're silver now. I'm going to set this box aside because we're only going to use 2. And I'll go ahead and open this guy. We'll get 2 of those. Actually, we only need 1 screw, but 1 nut and 1 bolt for the whole process. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the bag for next time. So we've got our album mount. And then I've got my 2 pair of command strips. Get these out of the way. And lastly, I use a measuring tape. You can use a ruler or anything, whatever you want to do to go ahead and measure this out beforehand. So essentially you want to put these two together, these 2 pieces together, and you'll see that they'll work like this, so that you've got the top piece and then the bottom piece for the slab, and you just want to make sure it's the right size. So typically what I do is I just sort of guess somewhere kind of in the middle like this, and then I will take the screw, the flat piece, put it towards the top, and just sort of hold that in place while I turn it over, and then just lightly screw it on, maybe 3/4 of the way, just till it hits the plastic, and then I just sort of leave it there. And in theory, as you can see, everything just sort of slides around as you adjust it, and then as you measure and get it just right, you can hold it in place and screw it in tighter. So we'll need to measure for the size of the slab, and then we'll go ahead and lock this in. Okay, so the way that I measure this is essentially you need about 13 1/8 inch from top to bottom. A CG slab, I believe, is somewhere around 12.5, 12 3/4 for your standard size slab, but I'm looking at 13 1/8 of an inch. So I just sort of slide it up and down till I get around 13 there, and then just bump it just slightly more. Slightly longer, and that should be enough. And I will show you a trick. It does not have to be super precise, but I am going to hold it in place right there, slide this as far to the top as I can, and go ahead and screw that in tight. Alright, and that creates essentially the holder. You can see it's still a little loose, but when you add the command strips on the back and then affix it to the wall, everything kind of holds into place. And if it's not precise, it's okay, because you can always adjust it on the wall via the command strip. So you can move it just slightly up and down by by detaching the Velcro from one another. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'll split the pairs in half, turn this over, and then I'll split it again. And you want to peel this off and put this like so on one side. And I'll peel this one and put it on the other. And then what I do is I'll take these and I go ahead and just gently press on each side so that the Velcro, you can hear it, it just sort of attaches. I don't need to go crazy and push it in all the way, because when you affix this to the wall, it will sort of take care of that there. So now we have the basic setup, and then what we'll want to do next is go ahead and peel these off and then press it right on the wall in the exact spot that you want it. Okay, so I've located the spot on the wall that I want to affix the holder to, and you can certainly take out a leveler, a pencil, and what have you, but to get it just precisely in the right spot. But what's nice about these being command strips is if for some reason it is not perfectly leveled or centered, these can be adjusted just by moving them a little bit kind of back and forth, and then certainly readjusting the command strips on the wall. But for the most part, everything looks pretty level and centered. And once you have the first slab or two up on the wall, then you just kind of align everything up together. So in this case, I don't want to see any of these tabs like visible kind of off to the side there. The slab more or less covers that. But just for consistency, I'm going to go ahead and put it here instead. All right, I'll give it one last little tightening on the back, and then I'm ready to place it on the wall. And the command strips are pretty safe if you've used them before to hang picture frames and everything. It's okay. You're able to get these off the wall pretty easily without damaging anything. There's a rare occasion it will peel some paint, but for the most part, they're certainly better than putting a bunch of nail holes. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up under the previous slab and kind of align it with the one to the right. And just kind of eyeballing it, that looks pretty close. And then give it a nice good push against the wall on the top. And then down at the bottom as well, and you'll hear like the Velcro kind of snapping and pushing together. So now we've got that holder in place. And if everything was measured properly, the slab should slide right in, but if not, we can make an adjustment. And I would say this is obviously too big. So that's what I was saying earlier. If you haven't measured super precisely, accurately, you can pull this right off the wall, right off the Velcro, and then push it up just slightly. Reattach it to the Velcro, and you may have to do it in the top and bottom. That's still a little too loose, so let's shorten the top. Push it down a little bit. Press it back against the wall. So this should be nice and tight against the wall. Or you can see I have to push up just to get the slab in. And this thing is not moving now. This is really snug in there, not moving around at all. So there you go. That is the process for hanging a CGC slab on your wall and kind of having the slab appear as if it's floating. Hopefully that process was helpful. If you have any questions about the materials I use, just leave me a comment in this video. Happy collecting, and see you next time.